All right, we're here with Joe Cologne. Got a brand new facility here, here in Manchester, Iowa, and I know you're excited about it. Starting your new journey as a head coach of a program. Well, let's just kind of start where how this got all started. What brought you to Manchester, Iowa?
What brought me to Manchester, Iowa was, just a different start, new vision of life, really. Kind of done coaching college, kind of took a year off, was done competing, was living in Des Moines, trying to find something to do, trying to find where I wanted to settle down. I met Solomon at Northern Plains. I've heard of him, like I've talked with him before and stuff like that, but then I started coaching Cooper a little bit. And spent some time with him in the summer, last summer, and then in August I moved here, and I started working at Jay's Auto, doing selling cars, and then as that kind of got going, got talking about like him asking me kind of some stuff that I want to do and some stuff, what are my goals and dreams, and I've always wanted to be a little kid coach, and that's because I've had a little kid coach, Pat Harlan, that had a big impact on me when I was younger, and kind of showed me some, like, put stuff in my head about some stuff down the road that you can do, like, being on world teams and stuff like that. It's kind of when at first, like, those visions kind of got into my head, and I didn't really probably fully believe them at that time or know much about it, but as I kept working and going through the years of wrestling, it just kind of all happened in a way that I didn't really know. So I want to do that with athletes. I want to get them to wrestle in college. I want to get them to wrestle on world teams. I want to get them to, be able to protect themselves. There's kids that can't defend themselves very well. Come in here, they can learn some stuff about wrestling and how to defend themselves. Also, exercise. Had some kids that put down stuff that they want to get better at, just exercise. So, it's something to do actively for the youth, that they can grow into the rest of their life, I guess.
Yeah.
Stuff that they can carry with them, right? Teaching them not just skills and drills and technical stuff, but being a better person, picking up certain things, the way they talk to their parents even, just really trying to help the athletes be better individuals, better humans for our world, really. Because, there's...
Shaping their life and on the mat and off the mat, right? You spent the last year at Jessup too, right?
Yep, this last year.
Coach, the first time being on a high school staff, right?
Yep.
So did that kind of see that this might be a good fit for you, or did you already know going into that this is what you ultimately wanted to try to get done?
This was kind of the main goal. The Jessup thing kind of happened with volunteering and spending some time with some of those kids already. I just went over there, and it was either be there at Jay's, like at selling cars, and I'd rather be in a wrestling room any day.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in the wrestling room all day. It's my happy place, right? It's a place that I when I'm coaching or even wrestling, you kind of just forget everything else that's going on in your life. You can let go of stuff, and you're just working on your craft, your art. And as a coach now, I want to help these athletes develop their craft, develop their art. And it's not something that's going to be done in just one day or even a year. It takes time. And maybe they get to where they want, and then they're not, and then they got to get back there, right? So there's adversity that they're going to go through, and helping guide them through that is something that I want to do. I want to, the big thing for me right now is going to be I had a first grader in here yesterday, helping him do some stuff, never wrestled freestyle, teaching them, not that other, just getting right to, this is how, what you should do, and then teaching the situations, and they don't have not necessarily bad habits, but, there's different ways to do things in wrestling. There's not a right way and a wrong way, but there's certain things that make things easier. There's Key words that can help you remember what to do, and like that age is like how I'm really gonna judge myself on coaching, I guess. Looking fast forward that first grader to a group of first graders, that 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Wrestling in college, wrestling on potentially maybe world teams, right? And then them coming back here and training, or asking me to coach them in the corner when they get older. They have their college coaches, and college coaches are great, but I mean they're 4 years and they're out, right? I mean, look at the transfer portal and all this other stuff. It's something where I'm not just going to be with a kid for 4 years, or the next year I'm trying to recruit a kid to fill a hole, right? I mean, I actually prefer taking a kid that's not very good, and maybe we get our ass kicked or our butt kicked, sorry, but like, how do I close that gap, right? That's like those challenges are what I like. Like, I'd much rather take a kid that is not having a lot of success and help them get to be successful.
Changing their trajectory,
yeah.
I guess, or outlook on their wrestling style. And I know you've made some personal changes to get where you're at now too. I mean,
Yeah.
has that given you a different outlook on? Because it sounds like we live in we're a selfish sport, right? We have to be selfish to a certain point in our individual careers. But now, it sounds like some personal changes. Like, it just sounds like you've got a different outlook on just what you want to accomplish as a person.
Yeah.
And a coach.
Definitely. Say that again quick. Like, the outlook.
Yeah, you're just you go from being you have to be a selfish person to be on the world team, to
Sarah
now
had,
go into coaching, right? Now you're thinking
this
about somebody else.
Earlier in her interview, right? Like, yeah, we are selfish as athletes, right? Like, it's only me, and there's been a lot of that in my life, and like, do what I need to do what I need to do, and it's not just about me. It's about the athletes, and even when they win, it's not me, it's them. They're the one that had to go out and do the work, right? They're the one that had to actually react and do the actions and do the skills, right? Like, I'm just trying to help them have an idea or a better understanding of when they go out there and compete, to have them ready to defend themselves on the mat,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, or in life, and as I'm coaching, like, not just yelling things, it's being able to help them navigate through situations. Keywords, like getting to the point right away and not having long out tangents. And sometimes I will go off the route a little bit, but then there's meaning behind it as
Mm-hmm.
well. Selfishly, I probably did that in my wrestling career. They're going to have to do that in their career, but then being able to manage that time, I think, is the hardest. Like, being able to turn that selfish kind of switch on and off, to not put everything so much on a pedestal, right? Like, be relaxed. That's something that I probably could have done a better job of, is not just think of like the end goal, and make it something that like you get overwhelmed about and kind of get there. Like, it's like, oh, tap, like, and then kind of freeze, or like stay relaxed, stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, stay focused, have a clear head. And that's, like you talked about just a little bit ago, about making some changes, and like, yeah, I've done some things, like, I mean, had some trouble, right? But like, it's not that a person can't change. Getting their head right, maybe it's being around the right people, maybe having the right guidance, somebody that you trust, being around you, helping you, and then maybe relate to a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to better your life in all kinds of aspects. And another like big reason for this too is, like, I mean, I didn't want to college coaching. I didn't want to be traveling around as much, and like, they're so busy recruiting. You're in the office making calls, you're doing a bunch of different stuff. There's a lot of moving pieces, and with the youth, I feel like you're more focused on the development and not so much business oriented in how do we win now,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's not just you can go into the portal and try to win now, right? But it's more about the development. It's more about getting the kids better, getting the athletes better, so that they can go and showcase their skills, so they can go and do what they want. And wrestling teaches us more than just what we're going to do on the mat. It can teach you life skills. It teaches you how to handle the adversity. It's going to teach you how to handle and navigate certain situations, dieting, exercise, things that we need to do in our everyday life, even if we don't wrestle, right? So you can help with those type of things. And yeah.
So developing a club, first off, I mean, you got to have the kids, you got to have the support staff. So we've already got, a 4-mat room here, beautiful facility. It's getting started. Mats just went up on the wall here last week. So super excited just to kind of see a vision, I'm sure, come together. But, what's one guy can't put together, a successful club. You're going to have people around you. Where are you at with, your support staff here on the mat?
We have Store comes in, King Store, comes in, and then also Colton Crawford. And that's stuff we're going to keep adding to, as more kids come in, as we get going. Yeah, we're going to need more coaches. And I want athletes not just to be coached by, come in here, it's not just going to be me coaching them, because you're talking about it earlier, is there's different ways to go about things. I want the athletes to be sponges, right? To grab some stuff from here, grab some stuff from here. It's not just one way how you do things, and one way might work for you, it might not work for me, or it doesn't work for you, but does for me. So I want to, we're going to have other coaches in here. We're going to get some other coaches in here as we get going more and more. We'll have other coaches coming in, running practice. We'll be doing camps. Some of the guys, I've already reached out to some people about coming in to do some camps. So I know a lot of, personally been around some of the best athletes in the world. I think my time wrestling right now is we're, Snyder, Burroughs, Dake, Taylor, all those guys, I was on a world team with. And that's when I kind of really went to go jump levels too. Just being around them, not even just jumping levels, just it definitely motivated me to help me get my bronze medal.
Yeah.
Just being around them, seeing how they go about things. But even back to 2015, going to camps and being around those guys at the OTC, coming into practice and warming up for practice before your warm up, not just coming in and then messing around. And they're young, these guys are young, but there's going to be some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ones that I'll help guide some of them that teach them how to roll out before practice, how to stretch after practice, before practice, how to warm up properly, how to get mentally ready for practice and have a purpose in your practice, especially if you're just wrestling live. In practice, it's not just, it's a match. Sometimes we go into practice and we have these matches and we think we've got to win, but those are really the times that we have to try to develop ourselves on the mat, try different things, navigate different positions, situations. We got to try things.
First, I saw you guys had over 40 kids for first practice. Not bad for first month club opening, right? I mean, got 4 mats here. Were you surprised by how many you had?
Yeah, I tried to put a little bit of a lower number on it. I wasn't really sure this area of how many kids actually wrestle freestyle. I know West Delaware, they have a good program, good tradition, and they have a tournament this weekend, and it's gonna. I was surprised a little bit. I put a low number on it about I thought I said 38-ish. I might see, and yeah.
Over 40. That's pretty good. Starting out in an environment like Iowa, right? We've got some great clubs, and the level of youth wrestling is probably at one of its all-time highest, just throughout, folk style, freestyle, Greco. But we're on a great trajectory just as a state, right?
Yep.
Adding another big club in the state of Iowa. How do you see CWA? How do you see yourself fitting into this state? What do you? There's some obviously great programs up here that could use another club.
Yeah. So I think this northeastern area doesn't have a whole lot. There is, like you mentioned, big game down south, but that's over an hour away from here, roughly, right? So now you think about a kid that has to drive an hour to go to big game, drive an hour back. That's 2 hours. Plus you have a 2-hour practice. Now you have 4 hours. Like you're at a half a day of work, right? And then they probably went to school, right? So I mean, it just makes it a little more convenient for parents. Makes it a little more convenient for the athlete, right? I mean, not having to spend time in a car on a school night or whatnot. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to get kids from multiple hours away. Like I'm okay with just the area, right? I mean, if kids want to come from farther away, great. But like developing this area would be kind of is the main goal, right? I mean, if other athletes and other people want to come from farther communities, that's fine. I'd love it, right? But to me, like, it's just about developing the area, getting whoever shows up better. And it doesn't matter. I don't like what level you are. Never wrestle a match. Come in, like, I'll help you get running right away. Like we'll get you going. Or if you've had a lot of matches, you know, your craft can't just be done, right? You've got to constantly keep improving it. And there's details inside your craft. You got to start breaking those down. You got to start analyzing them, from your toes to your hands, shoulders, your head, how you're twisting and turning, working on just different things in your development, but not just a flow. And not having just one flow, because I wrestle you and I wrestle him, I might have to wrestle a different way. So not just being like, this is how I'm going to wrestle. That gets deep into how you, like the tactics, strategy, and feel, right? There's a guy that I used to wrestle that I had to wrestle completely different. I couldn't go attack him, right? I'm a guy that likes to go, put my hands on him. I couldn't do that. I had to make adjustments the second time. I had to tactically make adjustments and be more patient in wrestling. So as you wrestle different athletes, you got to be able to change your style a little bit, make adjustments. Like you said earlier, there's not just one way to win. There's multiple different ways, and there's multiple different ways to wrestle. You watch, I mean, this U.S. Open coming up, there's a lot of guys that are going to wrestle different ways, and there's going to be some people that win that we didn't probably think would win. But it's another thing of getting people to believe in themselves, right? Not looking at rankings and being like, oh, he's ranked number 1 here, or he did this tournament, he did really well. Like, not being scared of athletes that have already had success. Like, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So trying to put that kind of stuff into their minds, where we can get their belief in themselves, where they can be confident, and they can go perform.
What are some area high schools maybe that haven't focused on pushing their kids to do freestyle, do Greco? I think the Iowa USA has done a great job we got more tournaments than we've ever had on the weekends. They did a good job of scheduling those out. I think we're in a good space for that, but what's your kind of pitch to high school coaches in the area to push their kids to try freestyle? Maybe if they're not going to have, that instant success that maybe they're having at folk style, what's your pitch to them?
I think folk style helps your freestyle, or freestyle helps your folk style a lot. If your main focus is folk style, like, you gotta spend more time, right? So if you're in high school and you're only wrestling from November to February, November, December, January, February, that's 4 months, right? And if you wrestle 1 year round, 4, 8, 12, that's you as a freshman to junior, or you wrestle high school, or you just wrestle 1 year round, like, you can make up so much ground, right? So if you're trying to improve, you got to spend more time in it, and you got to practice it more. And then you also got to be able to not just do like your areas, like your high school coaches workout, right? Like that they can't necessarily coach you in the summertime, right? Like so being able to go to a club and wrestle some freestyle helps you kind of stay in that timing, that rhythm, right? So you don't do anything from after February till November again, wrestling wise. You're jumping in it. Maybe you're off on timing. Your shots aren't there, right? Like, you're staying crisp year round. And it's not that you have to wrestle all 12 months. Like, you can take breaks. Breaks are good. You need to take breaks. But you also still have to, I think, wrestle year round to get to where you want to go. There's not many kids that only wrestle 3 months out of the year and go and win national titles.
Yeah.
Go win Fargo. Go win state titles. Like, if you look at some of those state champs this year, I mean, how many of them only wrestled 3 months out of the year?
Probably not a lot.
And then you can even go farther into that, into the state place winners, right? The top 8. If you go into the top 8 at each weight, how many of them only wrestled 3 months out of the year?
Yeah.
So now you're trying to compete with guys that are just, I mean, they're spending more time in it. Their development, their skills, and it's important. I mean, if it's important to you and what you want to do with wrestling and your goals, if you're only out to like hang out with your friends and the high school team, great. Like, that's fine. Like, go out for the sport. Be a part of the sport. But if you have higher goals and you want to be state champs, you want to be on the podium even, you want to make U15, U17, U20 world teams, like, those things are possible, but you got to train, and not just come in and a coach throw moves at you. There's got to be a bigger purpose to it. There's got to be a plan of training, and it's not all just about the wrestling. There's a strength and conditioning side behind it too, a flexibility side behind it, like implementing that kind of stuff into maybe the warm-up, or into the cool down, or into certain situations with drills that can be a little different than just you scrapping with the guy. Like, if you can't do a lunge and hold your balance, how are you going to take a shot?
Yeah.
But it's going to be pretty difficult when there's my moving pieces and then you're not allowing me to do that. You're trying to move in a way where I can't take you down. You're trying to make me off balance. I got to be able to hold position myself, and then I got to be able to hold position as you're trying to take me out of position.
And it sounds like you guys are planning on putting in a weight room. I mean, obviously you just got mats in here, so weight room, then having 100 bunks or something in here is what I heard too. What's the
on that
kinda
other side over there eventually. Want to do some like bunks for camps, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Get some other high level athletes in here to teach the athletes that are coming here.
Yeah.
I have some in mind that I've talked to a little bit. I'm not going to kind of go out, but I mean, like I said, I've been around a lot of those athletes that have won world medals, won medals in general, and I want to use those resources and those kind of friendships that I have with some of those guys to bring them in here, and also to bring this area, or whoever wants to come, a different flavor of wrestling, right? Because I said there's a lot of different ways to go about things, and I'm constantly learning. Like, I want to learn still, right? Because there's so many different ways to do it. I can't be just trying to teach how I wrestle, right? It's not, and that's not what I'm trying to teach. I'll teach some of my strengths, but I know way more stuff in wrestling than what I showcase on the mat. But what I showcase on the mat typically is what I know I need to do to win a match.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something else you got to get the kids to understand is, like, you're throwing all these moves at them, but, like, and they're trying these moves, but they're not in the positions to hit them, right? So, like, getting them to understand how to win, the tactics, the strategies on how to win, and when to hit certain things and how to hit certain things. Position is big time, like being in good position. It makes it harder for the other person to score. And if I don't give up any points, I'm going to win a lot of matches, right? So that's number one. Like, defense, they say defense wins championships, right? But you have to have some type of offense. And yeah, just being able to navigate that stuff.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're gonna have beginners to hopefully world level athletes in here. You know, that's the goal. You're not just gonna be the high level guys. You're welcoming in beginners and stuff like that. So you know, looking forward to, you know, as another club building up area youth and obviously ultimately the state of Iowa, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here with any clubs in Iowa, right? So, and world level, you know, national and world level.
That's something also I want to do too. Like, you're talking about Iowa, we mentioned a little bit before. I mean, I'm from here. I mean, I grew up here. I think we have a lot of depth in Iowa. I think that we can have more of a showing at the national level. Um, and I want to help as much as I can, wherever I can, to help those guys, not those guys, to help our state get there. However I can help do that, I want to do. I talked with Doyle a little bit last weekend about some stuff, and I was talking with Jennings a little bit. He's now the chairman. So I mean, I told him if there's anything that I can do to help, or that you need me, that want me to help the state of Iowa, right? I mean, I want our cadet and junior team to go win Fargo, to go win national duels. How do we do that? How can we all work together as a state, bring us together, and we go and do that?
Yeah.
And maybe that's even then eventually sometime way down the road, like bringing these clubs together to train a couple times, right? Or somewhere, somehow. Because that's ultimately what we're trying to do. Yeah, we compete against each other during the folk style season, right? But in the summertime, like, yeah, we're still gonna compete with each other at these local tournaments. But then, like, we're gonna, like Iowa wants to be the best, we gotta go compete nationally, right?
Yep.
So how do we go and not just worry about our Iowa guy that we gotta beat? Like, we gotta worry about beating the Minnesota guy, the Missouri guy, the Wisconsin guy, the Michigan guy, the Illinois guy, like, I mean, the California kid, the guy out in Pennsylvania. Like, how do we beat those guys, right? Not just beat the Iowa guy that's living 10 miles away, or the guy that's 100 miles away still in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Like, so not just training to beat us, but how do we beat those the East Coast and the West Coast, because they wrestle a little differently too.
Yeah.
Right. I spent some time out in California. You know, they're really good on their feet. They're not very, like, they don't spend a lot of time top bottom. They're really, really good on their feet. How do we get better? How do we take those guys down? How do we not get rode out by some guys in Pennsylvania, right? They're really good on top, right? How do we get out on bottom? How do we get better in all areas of wrestling, on our feet, on the bottom, on the top, in scrambles, and just in situations?
Awesome. Well, appreciate the time, insight of kind of what you're, we have 30 minutes here, but I know it sounds like there's a lot of passion.
Yeah.
New passion probably, I'm guessing, on the coaching side. So looking forward to what you guys are doing here in Manchester. Anything else you
No,
know?
I mean, I've had the passion for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've coached, and I've actually had some kids, like at Northwestern when I was there. Mikey's was a couple times like, Joe, I got it, I'm okay. So like me learning at the same time too, as like how to be a better coach, and not get my athlete so riled up before the match. He's got to go out and like perform. Some athletes might need that. So then also understanding your athlete, and being able to not necessarily read them, but help them prepare for their match. Some kids don't like to be talked to before they go out and compete. Some kids want to know what this kid's going to do. So knowing your athlete and being on that kind of relationship page with him, understanding it, right? Like what he needs, what he wants, not just necessarily what I wanted, right? I wanted to get riled up and get fired up, ready to go. Some kids want to walk out there calm, right? Just relaxed, and then they're ready to go. So understanding what your athlete needs is another big part of it. And when I stop being passionate about it, I'll probably walk away from the sport, but I don't think I'll ever really be done with it. I love it a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for the time.
Yeah.